Okay, time now for our first guest. For 6 years, Matthew Fox was lead castaway Jack Shepherd on the hit TV show Lost. That ended a couple of years ago, and since then his movie career has been somewhat eclectic. He was a sinewy bad guy in Cross, and next week he shows up in post-World War II drama Emperor, playing a real-life soldier. He popped into the pod booth to talk to Phil and Chris about that movie and the small matter of being almost entirely cut out of this year's World War Z.
We're delighted to be joined in the pod booth by Matthew Fox, star of Emperor. Hello, sir.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm well.
Are you not jet lagged then?
No, I'm very jet lagged actually, but I'm doing all right. I was up at 4:30 this morning, like rat-eyed, bushy-tailed, and I'm not feeling so rat-eyed and bushy-tailed anymore. But
we'll get you through it.
Yeah, it's all good.
Because I read an interview with you where you said you don't actually watch your own films. So do you pay attention to other things around your career? Like?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't.
You must have seen some of
I've
your
never
films.
Googled myself. I don't look at anything involving.
Should we Google you now?
No, please don't. Please don't.
Which of your films have you seen?
I've seen. Well, I saw Emperor because I wanted to see it with a Japanese audience in Japan. That was the first time that I'd seen the film. I really don't enjoy watching anything that I'm in. It just kind of ruins it for me personally. If I'm in it, I can't really drop into the thing the way that I love to. I love to go to the movie theater and wait for the lights to go down and fall into another world. It's one of my favorite things in the world, and I love to go to the theater and have the same experience, or very different experience, but to fall into a story. And if I'm in the thing and I was involved in dedicating 3 or 4 months of my life to the behind-the-scenes making of it and trying to create that illusion, it's just never the same experience. So I try to avoid it.
I wanted to ask you about something I've always been really fond of, and I'm not sure that you are as fond of it from some of the things that I've read, but Party of Five, going way back to the beginning of your career, was that not a good experience for you, or just something that you were keen to move on from when it finished?
It was an incredibly good experience. I think that I have spoken about it maybe. I was frustrated during that 6 years because I felt that Scott Wolf and I were playing men that were, just so soft. I mean, I really felt like it was a show that was sort of largely for a female audience, and I felt like men were represented in a way that we imagine females want us to be, and not who we actually are. And so I always felt a little bit frustrated by the character Charlie, and Scott, I think, was as well with Bailey, that we felt a little bit like we were two-dimensional characters on that show, that we never really got to be sort of complete, and that we were sort of bashing our heads up against that at times, and it was frustrating. The experience overall was absolutely fantastic, and I look back on it with with fond memories. I mean, it was. I actually saw Nev not long ago. I hadn't seen Nev for years after the show had wrapped. It was actually, I was doing a play here in London, and she was still living in London, and we kind of reunited, and it was absolutely fantastic. I exchange emails with Scott every now and then, and I have really good memories of that time.
You all kind of went on to do really cool things on the big screen.
Yeah.
But I guess you haven't reuned. It's not even a word.
Reuned.
You haven't reuned since then, have you? Presumably. Yeah, I mean, do you think one day you might all get back together again and just shoot the shit, or is that just consigned to the past?
No, I think that, I think it'd be, I mean, just on a personal level, I hope at some point that we would have some sort of reunion like that. I don't see us ever getting the band back together, but
you and Scott could put a meth lab
I
together.
really don't.
You weren't itching to be Batman, for example. It doesn't sound like you got a superhero movie in you.
Well, actually, there is. I'm a kid. In that respect, I would have loved to have been Batman.
Yeah,
because I still have that sort of comic book geek in me growing up as a kid, that those types of things, Batman specifically. If you said Superman, absolutely not, but Batman specifically, The Dark Knight, I could be coaxed into that situation.
Batman, I can see. I'm just Yeah, you got it. You got the chin. You got everything. Yeah.
I think that they missed the boat.
They missed
on
the
that
trick.
one. They
Yeah,
did.
they can
They
always
did.
change their minds.
Well,
I don't think
see.
they made the Affleck
We'll
thing
see.
public, so they can always go back on that one if they want.
Batman versus Superman versus another Batman.
Two Batmans.
Precisely.
Batman.
The darker night.
Yeah.
The darkest night.
Is that where you would take it?
I would take it to
Properly
that.
dark.
Oh yeah.
There are no romantic comedies really to speak of on the Matthew Fox CD. But I imagine you've probably been sent a lot of scripts down the years, and I wondered, is it easy to spot a Bridesmaids from any other slightly ropey romantic comedy?
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I saw a romantic comedy script. I think I got a few of those there for a little while, and I don't know what happened. Maybe I just shot them down so heavily that the people that I work with were like, don't even bother sending Matthew another one of those. Or the people in the industry just don't see me in that capacity anymore. I don't know. But honestly, that is a genre that I'm going to do everything possible to stay away from.
Fair enough. It's interesting because once Lost finished, you seemed to deliberately get as far away from Jack and that show as you possibly could. I mean, you did Alex Cross.
Mm-hmm.
No one would look at that show, at that film, and go, "That's Jack Shepherd,"
Right.
which I imagine was the point for you. And is it true that you went back and forth between that film and what we call a set over here? But
Yes, I was. There was some overlap between what I was doing on Alex Cross and World War Z.
what was it? I know that may be a sore point, but I think it's something we'd love to talk to you about. I mean, obviously,
It's not a sore point at all. I mean, I chose to be a part of that in hopes that the role was originally designed. The role was originally in the film more than it is now, obviously, but it was still it was really a small role and really a setup, for if the movie worked and if it became a trilogy, which it was designed to be, that role would sort of become the antagonist to Brad Pitt in the second film. And I also chose it because I love Mark Forster and really have become good friends with him over the years. And he asked me to be a part of it and told me what he had in mind. And so we went and did it, and I had a great time working on it. It turned out that they basically reshot the second half of the film, and I haven't seen the movie, so I think that I'm barely in it, and that most of the material that I shot was cut out. And it happens. That happens, especially when you're already starting with a role that's sort of an obvious setup for a possible second film.
Yeah. But when did you first get word that you weren't going to make the cut, so to speak?
Oh, I don't remember. It was sometime back in sort of May or something, I think.
But still, if the sequel does happen, and they did come to you and say, we'd like you to play that role again, would you do it, or is it something that maybe?
Yeah, I don't see. Well, I mean, obviously, I'd be a little bit wary. I'd have to sort of have a conversation with someone about sort of what their plans were, and I do have a contract that exists where I'm contracted to do that. So there would be a couple of levels of conversations that would have to go on. But yeah, I mean.
Matthew, we've got to let you go in a second, but we have this thing on the podcast called the IMD Bunker, which is every actor has a trivia page on the IMDb, usually filled with made-up rubbish. Mm-hmm. But I want to run some facts past you and see whether they're true or false.
Okay.
Okay, so here we go. Let me see. The first one. He frequently hosts parties at his house where the whole cast of Lost gathers to watch the last episode they had filmed.
That was true the first year of Lost.
Okay.
That was true the first year of Lost.
But then you stopped because of the whole watching yourself thing, or smaller house?
Yeah, well, just sort of like, for me, it was really just about the whole cast getting together and bonding and sort of seeing what we were making, and it kind of really went for the first half of the first season of Lost, and then after that it kind of splintered and people went on their own way.
Okay. He's been horseback riding since he was 6 years old.
I'd say that's true.
That is true?
Yeah.
You're friends with Green Day's Billy Joe Armstrong.
There was a period of time where Billy Joe and I hung out. Our families hung out. He has great kids and wife, and we did some family vacations together, but we haven't done that in years. So I would have to say that's sort of in the past.
Come on.
An acquaintance, maybe.
Yeah, he's an acquaintance.
Okay, he's an acquaintance. Announced during a recent appearance, not that recent, on daytime talk show Ellen, that he intends to quit smoking in 2007. Did you?
I didn't quit smoking in 2007, but I did quit smoking in 2013.
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Results.
Congratulations.
When?
So that needs to be updated.
Okay.
When about?
I quit smoking
say yesterday.
July 20th.
Yes. Good stuff.
And how's it holding up?
This is-
You all right?
I'm very, very happy and feel like I've finally reached a point in my life where I am done with it.
Okay. And the last one. He is a private pilot and owns a Beechcraft Bonanza G36 aircraft.
This is true.
Okay. Is that still the only aircraft you have, or do you have a
I actually
fleet?
have another aircraft as well, so I have 2 airplanes now. It's a little bit, it's a little extravagant to have 2 airplanes, but they're both they have their both sort of specific tools for specific missions.
Okay. I imagine at some point, half of Hollywood is in the air. So have you ever passed John Travolta on your way, wave at him from the cockpit?
Kurt Russell,
Yeah, Kurt Russell, etc.
Harrison Ford.
There you go, precisely.
I got one last one. It's not actually on IMDb, but you said some things about your daughter is a big directioner, I think is the term. She loves One Direction.
Yeah.
You said some negative things about One Direction, which is a little bit like upsetting the mafia,
Uh-huh.
but like a teenage mafia with
Yeah,
really
yeah.
high octave stuff.
I know.
Have you received any death threats yet? Or B, have you taken your daughter to see Morgan Spurlock's documentary in a kind of a olive branch to the directioner community?
Is this the movie that just came out about
Yeah.
them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, what's it called? Like, This Is It, or Here
This
We
is-
Are,
this is
or
us.
It's Now,
Here
or
it is
something like
again.
that.
Who are we?
Oh
I
my
think-
God.
I actually, I sarcastically, and she knew it was I said to her, on opening day, I said, I really want to go see that movie with you. And she said, Dad, there's not a snowball's chance in hell you're going to see that movie with me.
You should go just to like.
I have
twist
so
her
much
melons.
fun busting her chops about being a One Directioner. I can't even tell you, because she had Bieber fever for a while too, dude. Yeah, first it was
Ooh,
Bieber
No
fever.
known cure.
Yeah, and guess what? She doesn't have Bieber fever anymore.
Mhm.
So just like that came and went, the One Directioner thing is going to come and go as well. This is what I keep telling her.
So
When she's in it, she can't see that.
So what are you trying to make her listen to? You trying to lure her over
Actually,
to the
I'm
light side of the Force?
finally getting her to like listen to some music that's not just terrible.
One Direction's not all. No, I can't do that. It is pretty much all terrible.
No, come on. That's harsh to say. It's terrible.
Don't put it on me.
I can't believe you said that.
I know.
We've
I'm
gotta
getting a
go
death threats
before
now.
we
I
go
know,
back.
precisely.
Recently gotten really into this. What is it? The XX or something like that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, British band. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and
XX.
that's far. I mean, obviously very far away from Bieber fever and One Directioner types. So it's kind of moody and
It's good,
it's not bad.
So One Direction's like a gateway band to more interesting bands.
I think she ultimately will develop some great musical taste.
Fantastic.
I'm
Matthew
hopeful.
Fox, it's been a pleasure.